Okay, first, so this is episode 3 of the Optimistic Knicks fan. Yeah, I'm in a I'm in a good mood. I'm not as confident as I want to be. I'm pretty confident, but I'm not as confident as I want to be. First two games with barn burners, the Pistons proved that they are an issue for the Knicks. Right, the Knicks are not just going to steamroll over them. Um, again, they're a competitive team. I appreciated that about that team all year. I still think the Knicks are the better team and probably will win again. To see what 2 days off and adjustments are made. The Pistons play very physical. They play very physical both games, and So first off, I want to congratulate Jalen Brunson on winning Clutch Player of the Year again. He deserves it. If anybody watched Knicks ball, if anybody is an objective basketball fan, they would understand like the numbers, the amount of clutch shots, amount of clutch plays. Period. Um, Jalen did. Jalen pretty much did earn that award. Forgot who the other two finalists are. I'll have to look at the list. I mean, it was like 8. Trying to memorize the finalists for all 7 or 8 awards is pretty hard. But so congratulations to Jalen Brunson, and of course, come every playoff time. You get mired in a controversy. You get mired in this anti-Knicks sentiment and rhetoric. Again, if we're gonna do things, we have to give credence and give credence to both teams. Like we have to be fair. Again, the Knicks. One thing I had a little bit of an impromptu debate as I pulled up on the Go Cast podcast tonight with the gentleman named Xenon. And again, I kind of took him to task because again, you could say, oh, I'm not going to argue with a Knicks fan. Rose colored, you have rose colored glasses. You can't be objective about this. I can be very objective. Very objective. I can be objective that, yeah, Brunson got away with a flop or two, like maybe one or two. And then I watch people break down the Lakers. I watch people watch the Lakers. Again, a team that, I mean, look, it's one thing if one guy likes Brunson, a flop or two. Again, let's keep it real. That the book on Brunson is to try to bump him, match his physicality, get him off his game, play physical with him, speed him up, whatever. Right? So fouls are going to be committed on him. But the idea that he is this horrible flop merchant or fouls merchant, again, we go into the 2024 season, Jalen Brunson scored the most points in the NBA. The most points in the NBA, I will repeat, the most points in the NBA if you take away the free throws. He scored the most points in the NBA taking away the free throws. Jalen Brunson scored more points this year than Kevin Durant, especially if you take away the free throws. I'm just, I just want to just be objective. A lot of the time I see a lot of guys who flop and don't get any contact whatsoever and draw the foul. If Jalen Brunson hits the floor, more than likely he draws. Look, it's the name of the game, selling the cause, like wrestling. You have to sell the move, right? They're not making these moves to hurt you. They're making the move to look like they hurt you or whatever. In basketball, the concept for a lot of guys who scores once you receive a contact, flail and balance, and again, and it's got to be natural. Again, I look at a game where Luka. I just looked at from film today, where Luka got minimum contact, from Dante DiVincenzo. Luka, I don't care what he's listed, he has to be pulling in about 240, 250, between 240 and 250 right now. And DiVincenzo was a slight. I mean, DiVincenzo ain't like skin and bones, but he's about 195, 205 at the most. And the way he hit him, Luka can stumble, and even then that's where he fell to the floor. So it seems like again the Lakers are a popular team nationally. The Knicks are a national team as well, but these are New Yorkers who are mostly Knicks fans. Very few people who never lived in New York, never picked up Knicks fever or whatever, who you could call Knicks fans. Yet there are a lot of Knicks fans around the country, so you will see like there are a national fan base Yeah, you're gonna have fans, but a lot of people who don't like the Knicks are just gonna run with that, and it's crazy. It's a narrative because I look at the congratulations on NBA.com, and every single comment talks about him being a flop merchant. No one is talking about how many clutch shots he makes because that's the thing. And again, it's just the 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 point that I just made. If you take away free throws, Jalen Brunson was the leading scorer in the NBA. Take away free throws from everybody. The most points scored not on free throws last year. Again, he only played 65 games this year. He was still among the leaders in scoring. He was 18th in scoring points scored, despite only playing 65 games. Okay, so I believe he was 6th or 7th in scoring overall. It's not like Brunson don't put the ball in the basket. It's not like he's not trying to score on these plays. And again, at 6'1", yeah, you got to sell a little bit. You got to sell a little bit. But now every single comment was either he's the flop merchant, Knicks suck. Again, I get it. I'm a Knicks fan. I get it. I completely get it. Wait a minute. I just realized I was arguing with the 76er fan tonight. Last night. Is Joel Embiid not a flop merchant? Is Joel Embiid not a foul merchant? Does Joel Embiid not lead the league in free throws attempts per game every single year? And again, like last year in the playoff, I mean, he had one game where he made 3 shots and yet still scored 20-something points. He had one game where he scored 3 shots and still scored 20-something points. I'm going to do the Umar for Philly. He had one game. Let me do the Dr. Umar for Philly. He got one game where he scored 3 points. 3 baskets and still scored over 20 points. How does that happen if you're not a foul merchant? The reason why I got into this game, the reason why I'm trying to get into this game, and I'm trying to get a platform up, the reason why I'm making videos and it's running my mouth is because and again, this is about my Knicks, so you might want to say I'm not being objective. Again, bro, like the argument was made to me and they said it was unethical, like it was said that he was unethical in the way he foul baits. But then it was completely admitted. We just went down a bunch of other players. And again, like that's being whataboutism. You could think, and I don't like whataboutisms, but no, I wasn't doing a whataboutism. You literally said, when you said he's unethical, he's the worst. And then we name other guys who do it. And you don't call them unethical or say it's the worst or this idea that because Atlanta or, when it comes to Trae Young or SGA, which defeats the purpose because that's the OKC is one of the best teams in the league. FC has been accused of being a foul merchant, but no one acts like they hate him because of it, right? Again, that's part of the game. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the worst foul merchants in I think they got 3 of them on the Lakers: Luka, Reeves, and LeBron. I think they got 3 horrible floppers because again, these guys will sell contact that ain't there. They go sell like that's when it becomes NBA. If anybody knows anything about wrestling, when a guy throws a work punch and it does not visibly land, nobody in the arena can look like you see it clearly miss, and the guy sells. That's when wrestling is looked at as a joke. So what are we doing about LeBron and them? What are we doing about LeBron and them when contact or minimal contact is made and the guy acts like he gets shot, or minimal contact is made and the guy flopped to the floor? That's what I'm talking about. You're not even like LeBron will sit there when he knows he can make a shot and he'll do the strong, do the muscle pose and all of that. Well, what happens? I mean, again, Jalen Brunson is a slight player. I mean, he's a small player. He's not skinny. Right, he's a little, he's been nicknamed Butterball by certain content creators, right? Funny, it's funny. It's pretty funny. But, I mean, we're not going to, Are we not going to respect skill? Are we not going to respect the fact that he's made so many clutch shots? Again, it's like it's Knicks for clicks, man. It's like hate on the Knicks, people will come. Hate on the Knicks, people will come. I mean, I had one Butterball content creator I watched, and again, I don't know anything about him. I don't know. I've never seen any other videos, but you literally showing Azor Thompson run up the floor with his arm. You know when we did the relay races or the races, and the one guy would be you running, and he got both his arms up, and the first person that touches the hand wins the race. That's what Azor Thompson. In what planet is that legal guarding position? Just run up the floor with your arms to your side. At what planet is that legal guarding position? You just running with your arms to the side to impede the guy's progress. That's literally a foul. That's not a natural guarding position. You can't have your arms up to impede a guy's progress. He's got to run. You got to give him space to run beside you. It'd be one thing if you got into a legal guarding position and you have your hands there, but that's running with your arms to the side is not legal guarding position. Guys literally showing that and saying that that's a foul merchant. Again, the Knicks did not shoot a free throw until minutes to go in the first quarter. I mean, first half. First half. Then this is for the team that we can all admit was playing physical defense. Now they were playing masterful defense, but to sit there and tell me you didn't see there was no shooting fouls at any point during that half, they were playing that masterfully. Again, if you play great defense, more than likely you're going to commit a couple fouls. That's kind of just rule of thumb. So, so I got this in here that was 6-5-1-8. Knicks got every call. That's bullshit. Bullshit. Completely bullshit. You know? It don't mean no, I'm pretty hungry. I need something. But anyway, so let's get down to the series. Let's get down to the series. We went through this last year. Really the Knicks should have won up 3-0 on Indiana last year. Rick Carlisle had to call out the referees. And this is what so this year, Tom Thibodeau did it. And again, Tom Thibodeau, I gotta take Thibodeau to task for some things later. Tom Thibodeau made a valid point. We don't care if you're gonna allow physicality to go. But there was 2 points where Cade missed, and the referees assumed it was contact because he missed. And they gave him ghost calls. So, if you're not calling contact you see. You're not calling contact you see. And again, it was a couple of parts where, the guys got a little handsy. They got a little handsy. If you're wearing, I've seen hand checking most of the night. I thought hand checking was outlawed. Hand checking no. I already know the NBA don't call walks. I already know they've allowed these travels and Euro steps and all this nonsense and stutter steps and gather steps and whatever. Pretty much a lot of times guys can take 4 or 5 steps, depending on how they frame it. I guess they saw shit they let go in NBA 2K and decided, hey, this is a good idea for the game. But anyway, I don't want to belabor. I want to actually talk basketball. And Game 2, a lot of guys still taking Bridges down. I think Bridges actually played pretty well. He had 19. Again, you want to see, especially if you're the second leading scorer, you want to see somebody get 25. Hart, OG, and Bridges. Hart, Bridges, OG, and Carney now combined scored 49, 39 if you take Hart out, and Brunson scored 37. Again, there's controversies about Brunson, ball hogging, not passing the rock. He had 8 assists. Again, assists don't mean you necessarily pass the rock. From what I saw, and I'm actually going to blame Tibbs more on the offensive stagnation because it depends on what plays you're in. The coach's job is to sit there and demand sometimes that you run a few plays through a Carney Towns. Towns was decent in the first half. Second half, he was non-existent. I don't think he scored a point. It can't happen. That can't happen. Okay? That cannot. There's going to be no half or even quarter for the rest of the series where Carl Towns will score a bucket. And this is one of the things, again, some of you Knicks fans are rooting for us to lose because it means in the long run we get rid of Tibbs. Like Tibbs does not, I don't see Tibbs not, I don't see Tibbs coming back next year if the Knicks don't win the series. That's the Knicks made a trade for a guy who's going to make $54 million. Okay, and I'm sitting here watching Julius Randle, shred the idea that he could never perform in the playoffs by actually playing well against the vaunted Lakers, right? So Julius Randle, can't blame him for that loss last night. That's Laker business. But between him and DiVincenzo, you feel like those two presents, and this would be an easy series. Again, we traded for a guy that made $54 million. Dante DiVincenzo scored that off the bench last night. He scored 1 of 10 off the bench. That cannot happen. And this is one of the issues. I don't think it's Brunson. I think Brunson's play style does. But it's one of those things. If you look at Cleveland, again, I made the point. We were ahead of Cleveland the last 2 years. What did Cleveland do to get better than us like this? They go in 64 games while we won 51. To be a first seed while we're the third seed struggling with a 6th seed. What did they do? What did they do? They changed the coach. Coach had a different offensive philosophy. More, guys take a step again. Kenny Atkinson, you got to realize he comes from the Greg Popovich system. And the Greg Popovich system is not predicated on one guy being a dominant scorer. It's predicated on the ball movement. And when you watch this is, Kenny Atkinson coached in the Nets where they didn't necessarily have the talent. They got rid of Kenny Atkinson before the big three and all them came in, Harden, KD, and Kyrie. So, again, and I'm gonna preface that he's a candidate for Coach of the Year. I'm gonna share my thoughts later on tomorrow's podcast about who I think should be the Coach of the Year. But Kenny Atkinson is actually all three guys, Bickerstaff, Atkinson, and I thought OKC's coach was gonna be up. I guess because they went from first seed to first seed, getting to 68 wins is just amazing. But they didn't give it to him. But I mean, 68 wins. 68 wins. There's only 6 teams in our lifetime have done that. 6 teams in NBA history. I mean, 3 in my lifetime. So, and congrats to all the finalists. It means a lot. It really does. I mean, now they do the whole top 3 thing, and then you can go back to top 3 of every award, and say, hey, this guy was a 6-time Defensive Player of the Year finalist. Like, he was in the top 3 6 times in his career, whatever. However you use these little accolades to measure. To be in the finalists, to be mentioned, to be in the top 3 of voting means a lot. So the Clutch Player of the Year, I think it's a newer award, and Jalen Brunson won it, well deserved. But going forward, I was surprised if the Knicks don't make any adjustments. I was surprised if they don't make a couple of rotation order changes again. I've always criticized Tibbs for his stale rotation. I mean, no one coaches like this anymore. Everybody plays different lineups. Everybody plays different variations of their lineup. The reason why OKC is so good is they can interchange parts. They got a team where everybody plays defense. There are no defensive liability. And I'm not sure how thrilled Tom Thibodeau was at getting Karl-Anthony Towns. Being, again, he said all the right things. He said he didn't have any issue with him back in Minnesota. But we know there was a little bit of friction, and we know that he wanted challenged him to be a better defender. Karl-Anthony Towns, at this point in his career, should be challenging himself to be a better defender. This is his 10th year in the league. Just at least, again, so a guy like Brunson knows he's not a great defender, but he at least tries to be smart, tries to be in the right places at the right time, tries to give you the effort. I don't think Karl-Anthony Towns will not give you the effort, but I just don't think he plays smart defense. I think he, for his lateral quickness to not be the greatest, and him not be a great leaper that can get up and block so many shots, you still got to know when to pick and choose. That's why at the beginning of the season I was asking him to just block a shot a game because he is good enough to do that. He was at 0.8, and the scoring and rebounding exceeded what I asked. So I don't have any criticism on that. But again, bro, he's got there's no way he can score 10 points in a game. There's no way. There's no way he can not get a bucket for the half. He's got to score at least 4 points in every quarter for the rest of the series. He's going to get 6-7 minutes on each end. Okay? Foul trouble, cannot get into it. Use your fouls. You're going to get they're going to come in there, game 3, and play you physical. They're going to be very excited down there in Detroit. Don't pick up stupid fouls. Don't be over, and the worst part about it is no one on that team can guard him. So, yeah, this is an issue, and you can put it on Brunson, but you got to put this on the coaching staff. And again, we play such a slow pace. This is why I got to see coaching change, because I think the key to the Knicks being a true contender is unlock offensively, and we play too slow. Again, and that's the thing, right? Brunson I'll give Brunson his grief for the fact that we play too slow, because he has to come up, make better decisions. I understand. You got to make better decisions because it's better for everybody else on the team. Everybody else on the team won't be, they'll get their good time with the rock. Everybody has to touch the rock. Everybody has to touch the rock. I mean, I asked the question at the beginning of the season, what is the best Knicks starting 5 of all time? And talent-wise, they definitely got an argument. But no. Clyde discussed that openly on the telecast, and he scoffed at it. And I see why. Because the Knicks of the 70s had more of a cohesive unit. The ball moved fluidly. No three-point shot in that era. The Knicks actually beat that year. They won 50. I think they won about 52 games, and they beat the 68 won Celtics in 73. The Celtics and the Warriors are the only two teams that won 68 games or more and didn't win the championship. So if OKC doesn't win the championship, they'll be the third team. But the Celtics didn't even get to the finals. Again, the Warriors did get to the finals. And that would be if OKC doesn't get to the finals, which I expect them to. That Dave Cowens and JoJo White team, when Hondo was there. But yeah, Knicks. If we come out stagnant offensively, win or lose, Tibbs got to go. If you can't show me from game with 2 days off, you can cry about the refs. And again, I would hope that same tactic used against us last year might work in our favor. Where fuck it, y'all think we're gonna get every call, which is preposterous. If y'all think we're gonna get every call, then let us get every call. Let us get some home cooking in Detroit and take game 3. I had Knicks winning in 6. I'm gonna amend it to Knicks winning in 5. I have amended this in 6. I knew Detroit had the capability of making this a series and making every game tough. I just thought the Knicks would play better, and the Knicks are just not playing better. Detroit's not playing great. Obviously, that first fourth quarter they choked. But Cade is playing pretty good. He played pretty good in the second game. He was horrible in the first. Let's keep it real. He had one up with 21, but we all saw him not be ready for prime time. But he course adjusted. Didn't do much in the fourth quarter. I mean, it did enough to win. But so and Jalen Brunson did a whole lot in that fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson has been the best player in the series so far. That goes without saying. But Knicks gonna have to step it up. Knicks around him gonna have to step it up. Period. So, for all the talking, all the New Yorkers, that's not happening. Now, I haven't heard in the streets. I haven't listened to any sports talk radio, but I haven't heard that locally. I haven't heard that from Knicks, from guys who do Knicks games. I mean, look, we got issues. Brunson do got to play faster. Brunson do got to make a better habit of getting others involved. But no, nobody's killing Brunson. We know that Brunson is the captain. We know Brunson's the reason we're here. So, again, I'm going to say this. I miss Randall. In a perfect world, can I Carnegie Towns and not got Randall, but that was not going to happen. I mean, not included Randall, but that was not going to happen. But Julius shows, again, Julius played, I'm watching in Minnesota, and Julius played pretty fast. He gets guys looking for threes. He's Minnesota's leading assist getter. And Ant-Man is second, 4.9 to 4.6. So, gotta realize that, man. Sometimes, it's one thing, it's like what Randall could do, Cat can't do. We can't run offense to Cat. We can give him the rock and hope him, and he's a pretty good passer. But he is not a guy that can actually break down defense, draw that gravity, no. Not like Randall. He does draw gravity. We're not gonna, he does draw gravity. He has a pretty good pass, better passer than Avatar. But there's a gear. Like Randall can play bully ball. Cat can't play bully ball. Cat can score on you. He can take you. He can wear you out. Take you. But he can't play that physical bully ball that can wear a team down like Randall. And I think that's part of what we missed from last year, right? This is the reason why a team like the Pistons can play so physical with us. And it seemed to affect our attack. So, again, I want to see some adjustments. I want to see Precious get some minutes, bro. I mean, how are we playing a team with the physical Pistons and Precious Achiuwa out of the rotation? Again, these are the things, right? You can't have a guy like that. You paid him to come back. You were hoping for him to come back because you needed your big man depth. Now you're in the team. You're in a series against a team that uses big pressure. Big guys that put pressure on you, that put their body on you, and you're not using one of the guys that kind of can take that pressure and kind of take bump for blow, blow for blow. Like, there's no reason why Pressure should have 0 minutes. I mean, this is the thing about Thibodeau, man. Like, Coach said what's going on in the game, not what you had planned before the game. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to wrap it up. Another edition of Optimistic Knicks Fan. Still got Knicks at 6. But, we really need to make a statement in Game 3. We need to win it. Come hook or crook. I would be nice if the Knicks win it comfortably by 10 or more. But we shall see. All right, guys. Peace.